So, what would have happened if Ivankov ate the Azure Dragon fruit that Kaido ate? Let's say Big Mom didn't make it in time, and both Kuma and Ivankov ate their devil fruits. Then what? Well, it would have completely changed the story. Let's break it down from each Ivankov's and Kaido's perspectives. First, the God Valley incident would have still happened the same way. Ivankov would eventually escape the island with Kuma and Ginny, possibly even saving more slaves than in the original story. After growing up, Ivankov would still join the Revolutionary Army, but this time his Azure Dragon powers would make him even stronger than Kuma, possibly the second strongest in the entire army. He would have kept his original, hormone-changing devil fruit with him, maybe to give it to someone who capable of using it. Most likely, he would have given it to Ginny once she joined the army. Here's where it gets really interesting. Dragon would have helped Ivankov master his devil fruit and unlock its full potential. With Dragon's guidance, Ivankov could have awakened the Azure Dragon fruit. And unlike Kaido, who never awakened his fruit even in his final moments, Ivankov would succeed, because the Azure Dragon's true purpose is to save and protect, and Ivankov actually has the heart to fulfill that purpose. But even with this alternate timeline, Ginny still would have been abducted by the Celestial Dragons. The twist is, since she'd be a devil fruit user, Saturn might not have experimented on her body, meaning no sapphire scale disease as a side effect. She would still be alive as a slave or even wife of a celestial dragon. Bonney, on the other hand, might have grown up in Mary Joa, either as a celestial dragon or as another slave. And Kuma would still be heartbroken, and he would likely die in the field as a mindless revolutionary soldier. Meanwhile, Ivankov would remain the second strongest revolutionary, but he wouldn't be caught easily by Navy this time, because he will be so strong with his awakened mythical Zoan fruit. But let's say he still got arrested and was in 5.5 level of impelled down. Then what? Well, since Kuma lost himself and died in field of work, there is no possibility of pacifista robots, which means no mass destruction of the Straw Hats at Sabaody. So, Luffy and his crew would have easily escaped from Kizuru with Rayleigh's help and put up their plan to head to Fishman Island. But on the way they would hear Ace's capture. Now they decide to invade Impel Down, like the stunt he did to save Robin from Eni's lobby. Robin, Usopp, Sanji, and Nami being present would make it far easier for them to come up with a stealth plan to avoid contact with Impel Down Warden Magellan. So no poisoning this time. They'd still meet Ivankov in level 5.5, and after learning about Luffy's bloodline, Ivankov would help them reach level 6, where they would organize a team with Crocodile, Buggy, Mr. 123, and Jinbei. Together, they'd escape and head to Marineford. The war itself would play out differently. There's a big chance the Straw Hats could have died here. For example, Sanji might have been died just by looking at Hancock's direction. Zoro might have been cut down by Mihawk. But just maybe, let's assume they survive. They'd still save Ace and escape with Ivankov's strength playing quite major role, with the war ending after Whitebeard's death and Shank's arrival. But still there is a chance that Ace might die, and that would give the crew a massive reality check, and they would spend the next 2 years training hockey with Rayleigh. So this time there's a chance that all the Straw Hat members mastered at least one type of hockey when they enter the new world. Now, from Kaido's point of view, without the Azure Dragon fruit, he would still escape God Valley and start plotting with Korizumi Higurashi and Orochi to take over Wano. Since Big Mom wouldn't have given him the fruit, their bond might have been weaker, meaning their alliance in Wano is questionable. Because even though Big Mom sees him as a little brother, his only feeling towards her is that he owes her for her help in God Valley. Now what devil fruit would Kaido have eaten instead? Probably it's either Orochi's mythical Zoan model 8-headed Hydra devil fruit, or Yamato's dog fruit model Okuchi no Makami fruit. My guess is Yamato's fruit, since Kaido called it his hard-earned fruit, so he might know it's a high-valuable devil fruit. Still, Kaido would never awaken this fruit either, because its awakening is tied to protecting Wano, and Kaido never cared about that. But still he'd eventually earn the title of strongest creature in the world later, but his fight with Odin would still go down the same way. Yamato, without her devil fruit, would rely purely on haki, still strong, but lacking the speed, agility, and ranged attacks she had before. Kaido's life wouldn't change too much, since he relies mostly on haki anyway. His fight with Luffy would still end with Kaido's defeat. Even if his ice powers could freeze Luffy's rubber body, Gear 5 would eventually overcome it. Momono's K would still become the new shogun. And speaking of Momo, he'd still eat the artificial dog fruit like Kaido and turn into a pink dog, just like in the main story. But no matter how much the story goes, it always ends with Straw Hats dying little sooner in the story. The only reason they survived in this what-if scenario is because of their plot armor. And that concludes the video. This is my version. There might have something else would have happened too. If you think any other way the story would have gone, comment section is open for you creative people. You can comment your version of story there. And also clicking the subscribe button would be helpful. Alright, see you in the next video.